the words we use with clients, word choice, and its impact on client decision making. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain the importance of word choice in communicating with clients and compare and contrast some frequently used financial terms in regards to how they resonate with clients. In the pre-recorded lecture entitled Anatomy of a Message, you learned that there's 3 parts to a message. 1, the content itself. 2, the intention of the speaker and the receiver's perception of that intention. And 3, the emotional element. Also, you heard in that video that the message takes place within some context, and that context provides a lens for encoding and decoding the information. Message effectiveness is elevated when the messenger is credible and authentic. The encoding of the message creates a clear, concise message, and one which eliminates confusing industry jargon. The message and delivery is customized for the client. For example, you might match linguistic style. The intent of the message is unmistakable. It's client-focused. And there's an emotional connection. It's also clear that client meetings are generally more successful when they are conversational. Ideally, the meeting is a collaboration between the client and the planner. There's an exchange of information, and because of this collaborative process, the client-planner relationship deepens. I came across an interesting blog site which was titled, "A Good Speech is Like a Good Conversation." Some ideas from that blog that you might find interesting and relevant to this brief discussion regarding client meetings include: think of these 2 modes or formats, the speech or the presentation and the conversation, as complementary. Good speech contains elements of conversation, first-hand stories, dramatized with vivid details, and opinions and conclusions drawn from real-life experiences. A connected speech is delivered while making conversational eye contact with one person at a time. A speech is not a monologue. It's a 2-way conversation. The listener may be speaking, but the person is still communicating. He or she is sending nonverbal signals. An engaging conversational style will generally be far more effective when meeting with clients than a one-way agenda. Choosing the right words has tremendous impact on the listener's understanding of the content, perception of the speaker's intent, and emotional response, how the listener feels after decoding the message. I recently attended a fascinating presentation by Scott West, he's from Invesco Consulting, entitled New Word Order. It's not what you say, it's what people hear. In this presentation, the speaker shared empirical evidence, which quantified how test audiences responded to sets of financial terms. Their immediate response was collected using a clicker-type device that electronically recorded positive and negative reactions. When faced with a choice of words, the subject audience responded positively to financial security, but negatively to financial freedom. They responded positively to participation in gain, but negatively to avoid a loss. This same pattern, positive and negative responses, occurred when presented with the terms cost versus fee, diversified versus correlated with the market, retirement income versus nest egg, straightforward versus transparent, and strategies versus solutions. Financial Planning Magazine published an article entitled Words and Phrases Advisors Should Avoid. As you notice, several of the words are identical to the Invesco study, which make me think that the article is based on that study. A few other words that were put on the list are risk on, risk off, new normal, turnkey, recovery strategy, alpha, beta, and asset allocation. So why don't the words resonate with clients? I believe that it goes right back to the concepts of messaging that we talked about, specifically clarity of the content, perception of intent, and emotional impact. For inexperienced clients, words like alpha, beta, and asset allocation may be confusing. That's why advisors generally want to avoid industry jargon in client meetings. Of course, the language should be customized. The language reflects the sophistication of your client. In some cases, these words will be appropriate when talking about portfolio construction. Clarity of the message is all about avoiding misunderstandings. I was watching some TV video in which the interviewer asked people on the street to explain what transparent fees meant. The range of answers was alarming. In fact, one person said that transparent fees referred to hidden fees. Terms like new normal and correlated with the market may only confuse, and ambiguity tends to stop the client in their tracks. During the Invesco presentation, Scott West shared that some of the tested terms were evaluated as negative because the test audience thought they sounded like exaggerations. While financial security sounded attainable, the concept of financial freedom was a reach. As I reflected on that explanation, I thought about who benefits most from the exaggeration, the client or the advisor. The discipline of psychology informs us that decisions are not based on pure cognition or logic. Generally, decisions are based on emotion, and then the decision is justified by logic. Based on feedback from the test audience, the word fee raised a negative feeling. People shared that a fee was something hidden, while the cost was straightforward. There was an expectation that the advice was going to cost something. The word turnkey implied a one-size-fits-all image or mentality, and that connotes a negative feeling. The person feels that their individual needs are not being addressed. The speaker shared that the word solution implied that the client had a problem. How does the advisor know there's a problem before even getting to know the client? Word choice is critical. The more you know about your client, the better prepared you are to prepare for your client meeting, to think about your word choice. Remember, think about the impact of words on the client's cognition, understanding, their perception of intent, and their emotional reaction. In this lesson, you learned about the importance of word choice in communicating with your financial planning clients, and some frequently used financial terms in regards to how they resonated with clients.